Hello, I'm back, and this is, of course, the 2021 candidate for governor of Virginia. My name is Merle Rutledge Jr., and at this time period, I'm just getting updates in regards to our crooked Ralph, what I call Rocking Ralph, making trips to North Carolina, where he said at first there was no truth to the circumstance. The allegations were false. Absolutely not. So, at this time period, I get this article. It says the Virginia governor, this was yesterday, Rockin Ralph, spent 65 days on taxpayer-funded jaunts to his North Carolina beach home since the start of 2019, where coronavirus was going out of control. Now, let me read from the article. Democrat Ralph Northam invoked executive privilege to initially block release of travel dates, but relented on appeal. On a Saturday night in the dead of August last year, Virginia taxpayers footed the bill as a state-operated plane roared from Richmond to one of North Carolina's desirable beach destinations. The King Air 350 turboprop made the journey twice in 6 hours. That's a lot of travel in a short amount of time. This article is by John Solomon and David Payne of Just the News article, whatever. Now it says the VIP passengers, Democratic Governor Ralph Northam and his wife Pamela, the First Lady of Virginia. The listed purpose for a back and forth jaunt. The Northams took a brief break August 31st, 2019 from their Outer Banks Beach vacation home in Mateo, North Carolina to attend a horse race at the Colonial Downs track back in their home state and ceremonial hand out a trophy to the winner. Then they went back to the beach. So there's evidence there because they had to give out a trophy. The trip is one of about 2 dozens that the Northams took to and from their beach home at taxpayers' expense since January 2019, spending part of all of 65 days in the North Carolina resort community. According to travel records obtained by Just the News under Virginia's Freedom of Information Act, the governor's public calendar posted online for citizens to see does not show the trips or dates, and when Just the News first sought the records, Northam invoked executive privilege to deny release of his office calendar notations showing the dates he stayed at the beach home. Just the News appealed, and the governor's office on Wednesday night relented and provided the calendar notation for his Outer Banks trips. Those records show Northam spent about 13% of his last 505 days in office at his out-of-state beach home, which he first bought more than a decade ago as a private doctor before he was elected to the Virginia legislature or governor's mansion. Dare County, North Carolina tax records show the Northam's beach home is listed at $579,000, was built in 2001, and has 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms spread out over more than 2,500 square feet. The governor's spokeswoman said Northam makes no apologies for his frequent trips, which cost taxpayers pilot time, driver time, fuel, and security detail expenses. He's unapologetic, people. The governor has owned his house on the Outer Banks for over 16 years prior to entering politics. He and the First Lady sold their Hampton Roads home, a short drive from Mateo, shortly after moving to the executive mansion. But like other governors, he continues to maintain a property outside of Richmond. He travels there occasionally on weekends, but had not been there since travel restrictions were put in place, nor since stay-at-home orders went into effect. As you know, it is required that a governor's security detail go where the governor goes, as with previous governors. This includes travel to their properties outside of the executive mansion. Emails released under the FOIA, which is the Freedom of Information Act, people, show that Northam's aides on some occasions had to schedule official events around the First family's many trips to Mateo. or decline invitations for official appearances. For instance, a June 5, 2019 email from a David Carey to the First Lady declined an invitation for her to attend a state business opening because she was going to be at the beach house. Just an FYI that this invite came in today for a day when you are in Mateo. I congratulate them on the opening and thank them for thinking of us, but said that evening doesn't work. Carey wrote to the First Lady. Now, that's just a part of it. Now, on most trips to and from Mateo, Northam was driven in a state car with a state police security detail. On 3 occasions, he and his wife used the state plane, a King Air 350 turboprop, typically equipped with 11 seats, a private bathroom, and Wi-Fi, to travel for events back in Virginia and then back to his beach house. State records indicate the hourly operating cost for the plane, absent the 2 pilots and landing fees, is about $1,165. Aides to the governor were flown on the plane on 2 of those trips, an August 2019 funeral for a state official, and an economic announcement in Aberdeen, Virginia. Records released by the Virginia State Police and the Virginia Department of Aviation under the FOIA provide a partial picture of the cost for the trips. They do not include the salary or overtime for the pilots, usually 2, or security personnel, usually 1 trooper, but do include incidentals such as fuel, landing fees, meals, and hotels. The Department of Aviation records state the 3 trips to Mateo cost taxpayers about $9,000 split between the governor's office and other state agencies for fuel and landing costs. The state police say it incurred incidental expenses for the trip, meals and hotels only, of more than $26,000. It did not provide salary or overtime or vehicle expenses. Now, the state police records show Northam spent time in Mateo for 10 of the 12 months in 2019 and for each of the first 3 months of 2020, which is during the COVID-19 pandemic that he's claiming. He's out there making trips. He's going out of state. He's having a good time. The governor spent several holidays at the beach over the past 18 months, including most of the week of July 4, 2019, Labor Day weekend, his birthday weekend, mid-September, and Thanksgiving holiday, starting on Wednesday of that week, his calendar shows. His final trip to his beach house, listed in the records, was the first weekend in March, ending less than 2 weeks before Northam declared a state of emergency in his state for COVID-19. That's enough, people. I'm fed up even reading this liberal crap that I'm just reading. What you just heard is basically the most lying, crooked governor we ever have in Virginia ever heard of, and how well the liberal media decides to cover crap up. Now, 2 weeks before, so he decided to get a vacation in, people. He decided to have his vacation, his fun in the sun, at the beach. 2 weeks before, he decides to issue an order to say, hey, y'all can't have y'all beach trips. Y'all can't have y'all fun. The Virginia people need to be safe. Now, mind you, this pandemic was going on and spreading all out from what we know about since December to January of this year. So 3 months later, he says, it's okay for me, the doctor. What does he say? I'm the only doctor out of all the governors in the country. But I guess his doctor knowledge prescribed him a couple of trips to North Carolina to the beach and said, hey, I'm going to put this executive order in after I'm done vacation. That's what it sounds like. That's what it looks like. Now, to show you how bad the media covers this thing up. Now, I'm going to go to Jake Howes. Now, when I read this part, it sounds like there's merit. There's credibility in the evidence. It looks like it's probable cause or reasonable suspicion. But they first claimed he was a liar. Amanda Chase first said, hey, he was believable. And also had trusted law enforcement to back up her allegations, her initial allegations, before she decided to tuck tail and run. Now, let me go to this one, Jake House. Now, I need someone in the media to pick this story up. I have done as much digging as I can do, but I am getting dead ends and literal roadblocks that someone with press credentials would not get. If this is true, this story would be national news. Virginia Governor Ralph Northam issued a stay-at-home order for Virginians where only necessary travel was allowed. Dare County in North Carolina is under a residence-only ban where only residents who have proof of North Carolinian residents are being admitted onto the Outer Banks and Roanoke Island. Ralph Northam is the governor of Virginia. He ain't my governor, but so be it. He put it in his article. He and his family are not North Carolina residents. Numerous residents of Dare County are reporting that the Virginia Governor Ralph Northam is illegally flying into First Flight Airport. Remember, that name came up in that newspaper article at the Wright Memorial Airport in Kill Devil Hills on a private plane. That sounds true like the last article, where he then has drivers meet himself and his family to go to their vacation home at 90 Ballast Point Road in Pirates Cove, neighborhood of Montea. Now, the significance of this is that in doing this, not only is Governor Northam violating the North Carolina and the Dare County order to that Dare County is residents only, but Northam is violating his own stay-at-home order for Virginians. Northam is abandoning his duties in Richmond during a time of emergency so he can travel unnecessarily to spend his time and leisure at his family's vacation home in Outer Banks of North Carolina. Virginians like myself are threatened with arrest for violating the governor's orders, but apparently those strict orders that are supposedly to protect us do not apply to Governor Northam and his family. While Virginians are locked down in their homes, many are not allowed to work, and none are allowed to travel out of leisure. Governor Northam and his family are doing exactly what he has used his authority to tell Virginians that they cannot do. Now, let me get to the meat of this because it's so long. I don't want to spend all my time reading these articles, but at the same time frame, I just want to lay out the foundation, the platform, the methodology, how I came up with this. Now, he provides photos and evidence of Northam vacation home, vehicles present, where Northam is supposedly inside with his family. Now he needs help getting to the bottom of it. And he updates the whiteboard excursion, Virginia tag BMI OB1, that was on video this morning at Northam Vacation House at 90 Bless Point Road in Pirates Cove is now gone. It sounds like you got caught. That's why the vehicle is now gone. It sounds like this guy did his homework. He said he was on a private plane, which we now know from that newspaper article was used. He says when you was there, after the North Carolina stay-at-home order, after your Virginia stay-at-home order, we also find out that you don't list out the dates of the time periods where you made these trips during your stay-at-home order because you cut it short, Governor Northam, 2 weeks prior to you issuing your stay-at-home order because you had went on vacation and denied every other Virginia any kind of vacation over a political hoax. That's what it is, people. Now, let me get back to the point because I'm so pissed off because also I got to get on Joe Biden too. But I'm going to get to that one in a few seconds. Now, Amanda Chase initially came out and said Governor Northam was at the beach, had trusted law enforcement that knew he was at the beach, was provided credible documentation and evidence, including pictures, that Northam was at the beach. And then she backtracks and backpedals for the liberal media and says, oh, Northam, within 24 hours, people, no investigation can possibly take place, people, in 24 hours, given the magnitude of these allegations. Given the magnitude, so I always like to tell people the magnitude of these allegations. And you're going to tell me that this guy's lying. and everything he's saying is true when the FOIAs are pulled, meaning Freedom of Information Act, when the governor relents and the media doesn't say he's denying access to the documents that prove he wasn't in North Carolina during his time by using executive privilege. But all of a sudden, he could violate that privilege by using his office to give out absolutely not denial of the governor being in North Carolina. But notice that when they asked Governor Northam for a statement, whether he's been in North Carolina or not, what he does is give out no comment. Well, now, one of my friends told me about this great definition. I hear it a lot when it comes down to liberal BS, and it's called plausible deniability. What it means is, if I don't tell you, but I have my office tell you, that means you still haven't heard it from me. You just heard it from a subordinate, one of my flunkies, one of my peoples who cover up my dirt and trying to give me toilet paper every time I need to go to the bathroom. Get this, people. Get this. Now, let me go to Amanda Chase, because Amanda Chase was the only person to come out and deny the governor's allegations. Now, mind you, the Republican Caucus in Virginia did not deny these allegations. No other candidate denied these allegations. But they went to Amanda Chase. So Amanda Chase comes out with a video saying that the initial claims that she found from her trusted law enforcement was false, right? So, but at first she was the one who stirred the pot, saying, hey, he was cited in North Carolina. We got the screenshots. It's still on page. She hasn't taken it down. Maybe she's just embarrassed. But I'm more embarrassed about the fact that Amanda Chase doesn't do her due diligence. She says she had investigators to check this out. Doesn't do her due diligence. Doesn't have her investigators check it out, because there's no way to do it in 24 hours. The stay-at-home orders is there. So your investigators is getting roadblocks just trying to get into North Carolina just to vet out the story. And then they send in their own flunkies to get interviews from particular witnesses, which says that, yes, we see the governor out there, but we haven't seen him after the stay-at-home orders. And guess what? They found somebody who they could find, singled out this person, and say, you going back what the media wants you to back, what Soros and the rest of the billionaires need for you to back, to cover up our nice little flunky in Virginia that's doing all our dirty work. Bloomberg's favorite politician. So I said, you know what? I'm sick of this bullshit, because this time frame the language is going to fly in this one. It's going to fly. So if you got kids watching my Facebook Live, I would just say, get them out the room, because this is a grown-up conversation. Now, you telling me Kyle has this type of evidence. Now, I know he sent that to Amanda Chase. We know that. Now, we know now that the Governor Northam's story is matching up to what Kyle said. Matching up. Saying the private jet, showing exactly what agency was helping out in this one. We know now the Virginia State Police is helping to cover this up, but they serve at the pleasure of the governor. Let's be reminded of that. 2 weeks before then, Governor Northam takes a trip and has his last vacation before he signs off on a stay-at-home order. Okay, now after that point, the paper trail stops. Executive privilege is asserted. We are not going to talk about the governor's trips after the stay-at-home order. We're going to give them up until this point. Are you smelling Republicans? Are you smelling independents? The bullshit that I'm smelling. Because if he was cool with that, he would have gave out the travel records all the way up to the present date. He did not do it. So that lets me know not only is this a political hoax, but the only doctor governor in Virginia felt that coronavirus, Chinese virus, the Kung flu, however I like to call it, wasn't that serious enough for him to make a trip in March, 2 weeks before his stay-at-home order is signed in. So that lets me know what is going on here. It's a Democratic cover-up and a plot. And I'm smelling the rhino right now was on that trip with Governor Northam. That's how I'm looking at it. Because I said to myself, what Republican Party And Jack Wilson, I'm getting ready to get to your stupid ass in a few seconds. Just give me a moment. But anyway, what Republican Party member went on this trip with Governor Northam? Because the only time frame I have ever seen the Republicans give out a break to a liberal is if they was on that trip also. That's how I look at it. Somebody has some kind of explaining to do. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to send out a FOIA to each of them up there in Richmond, the swamp, even to the Democrats, because I'm holding each and every one of you accountable, and find out who was on this trip with Governor Northam, because y'all covering it up left and right. Snoops is even covering it up. Facebook is even covering it up within 24 hours. I said this is an attack on Republicans from the inside, because there's no way in hell Republicans would not be going ahead and firing up the base to go ahead and get to the bottom of this. Now, what I also found out from a colleague who I talked to in private messenger, when we talk, quite frequently about this North Carolina beach trip, I ain't giving out his name. That's my what I call my campaign privilege, Governor, since you got executive privilege. But still at the same time period. Now, he says he's been out there. He believes the rumors it's fact-based. He has spent more time than the liberal media has spent out there, because the liberal media only spends enough time to cover up for the wolf. And give it, Governor Northam is a wolf. You know what I'm saying? And he has his liberal sheep. Now, he says his credibility to it. I'm reading Kyle's statement, which matches up to what the governor put out there from his records. And now I'm seeing there's a possibility that it wasn't the governor alone. So if this 2 weeks before what you call a stay-at-home order, that means you'll have to consult with the legislators, right? So what better thing to do is say, how about you hang out with me in North Carolina so we could go ahead and work out a detailed plan that's going to work for the Virginia people, and screw over small businesses and screw over people's lives and make them miserable. I said exactly, there is somebody who is working the middle and basically destroying the party from inside, because they know Democrats is on the cliff right now. They seen the election results now. They know that they have bit off more than they can chew. But this couldn't have been done or accomplished, people. And you know this better than I do, unless you got help from our own kind. Because Republicans have been all on this. Now, I'm calling on Republicans to show your real kind of heart and soul to this situation, because realistically, this is on taxpayers' expense. We, the people, are paying for these trips, and we got somebody citing executive privilege that's already crooked to I don't know what. So this is where it gets real, people. I'm asking y'all all over Virginia, even those from out of state, I want you to annoy the Republicans up there in Richmond, the Republicans all across this state, and say, we want you to get to the bottom of these North Carolina trips, because we're sick of hearing Rutledge talk about it. He's destroying the Democrats without our help. Because realistically, people, how did this happen? How did this happen? Because you can't tell me Governor Northam pulled this off by himself. Private jet, Virginia State Police, North Carolina officials, Dare County officials, all this other stuff. And you telling me he didn't get help from the other side? And when I look at these articles, I don't see a Republican saying, hey, we need to look into this matter further. We could look into Joe Biden further. We could look into Hunter Biden further. We could look into Justin Fairfax further. But it seems like every time frame, the Democrats is caught up in their own bullshit. It seems like we don't have Republicans calling them out, making sure investigations. Just because they say the majority doesn't want investigation, you do your own investigation and get to the bottom of the mess. Justin Fairfax got away with a scandal. Mark Henry got away with his blackface scandal. Governor Northam can't get away with his blackface scandal because he keeps a blackface at his damn news conference. How stupid can you be? If you somebody at a news conference, everybody's talking about your blackface, and you have a blackface damn face mask. That just tells me you can't help but be the Klansman. Now, to the point. You put all of this together, people. Well, I just told you. It says to me a couple of things. It says that y'all need to talk to your lawmakers. You need to talk to your Republicans out there. You need to find out who these rhinos is ahead of time. You need to vet them and say exactly what are you doing about this. And don't fall for the maybes. Don't fall for the properly or whatever they try to give you as bullshit. That's why I call it. And say, why are y'all not looking into this governor's trip in North Carolina? And he's citing executive privilege to keep the records there. We're trying to win in November. We're trying to expose the Democrats for what they are. But we're allowing the governor to get away with this. So I'm saying to myself, how much dirt does this governor have on Republicans up there in Richmond? That's what it boils down to, because I haven't seen Republicans let this type of crap slide. Now, the article just came out, so I'm going to give some time. But this should have been looked into. This should have been called for an inquiry. Republicans from all over should join together for a letter for you to come out with all those records after your stay-at-home order so we could get to the bottom of this crap. Obviously, the media finds it important. The liberal media finds it important enough to cover up. So why are we giving them help doing it? That's what I'm saying. See, me running for governor, somebody sends me a FOIA and says where I'm at. And now, mind you, the governor says he doesn't apologize for it, but why is he hiding what he's not apologizing for? See, if I'm not apologizing for something, I'm telling you why I'm not apologizing and the reason behind it. The governor is not doing that. So that should bring up some stark questions to people about what else is out there that we don't know about that's going on with our state business happening out there in North Carolina. Because now it's making sense to me. Because I said exactly, he locks down Virginia, says this disease is so serious, but he's making trips during the time period where this disease is spiking to the point where he's ready to issue a stay-at-home order. He doesn't say he was wearing a face mask. We don't see the state police ordering up PPE gear. Get to the point, it's more serious and more deeper than that. And I told you, I'm very deep. And I'm saying, hold on, y'all not doing none of these precautions. So what does the governor know that the American people don't know about how he could go around the country and fly off whatever fundraisers, whatever, give out a trophy here and there, all these non-essential trips. Let me use his own phrase, the non-essential. What can you tell me about all of this that adds up? And I said to myself, it's more that liberal bullshit. That's just what it is. See, y'all can keep voting for this crap. I'm like this. I can't defend this type of shit. That's what I'm saying. Every single Republican, I need for y'all to be emailing on the horns to your committee members, your committee chairs, your district representatives, your senators, your U.S. congressmen, even all the way up to President Trump, and say we want answers in regards to this crap. And I guarantee you, he ain't the only liberal governor who has done this. Because it stinks to high heaven about what is going on with liberal governors. They are no longer shutting us down over coronavirus. They are keeping us extended based off the fact of the right to protest against their orders. That's what you're seeing all over the country. It's no longer about coronavirus. It's now about denying you your freedoms, your constitutional rights, and your guarantees. Even the judges are smelling it. Even the federal appeals courts is smelling it. But the fact is, I need for Virginians. I don't care if you're independent, Democrat, or Republican. You need to get to the bottom of this. Because this is about us as Virginians, us as patriots, us having the trust in our public servants and officials to say they are acting in our best interest when they do these type of orders. There needs to be more oversight. It needs to be clear that executive privilege doesn't give you the privilege to fuck over Virginians. I'm going to say it like that. So all I'm saying off the break, lawmakers need to be called in. Lawmakers need to demand an inquiry. So when the Democrats is denying it, like they did for Justin Fairfax, the sexual predator, the high profile, the run for governor off of sexual assaults, this will throw them against the corner and back them up so far knee deep in their own crap for the public to see. Like I said, we need to leave Democrats battered and bruised and on display going into November. There's no other way to say it. And any chance we get to kick them while they down, that's what we need to do in order to win Virginia back. See, I got too much energy and too much fuel in the tank right now for any more liberal nonsense. So that's what I'm telling people. It's a call now all over this country, all over Virginia, to have these liberals governors explain what they've been doing. Not hiding behind executive privilege, but explain to the American people, to the Virginia citizens all over, what you've been doing during the stay-at-home order while locking us down, while going on your family vacations, getting your haircuts. Because I always notice Governor Northam always has a nice haircut at every single press conference. But those patriots who didn't have a haircut during the conference, look at their hair compared to his. So I call it like I see it. My hair was screwed up, so I got cut. Now I look good. Now at the same time period, I didn't give a damn. I kept doing my Facebook Live because I was here as a patriot, not here to be a fashion model. That's Governor Northam's job. So people, you need to get on the horn, email your representatives and say, we are not voting for you until we see that you take strong action against that piece of crap tyrant, gun taker, abortion happy doctor that's running the governor's mansion. We want you to step up and call them out on this one, get around this executive privilege, open up an investigation. Because somebody right now, I'm smelling recalls. We shouldn't have to wait until November, because right now this is a scandal that we need to go ahead and see it through. So all the talking, all the bluffing, all that crap, if it was me, I would be talking crap all year long until the governor went around that executive privilege just like he did for this newspaper. And I guarantee you he only did it because they was only going right up until the time period of his last vacation, not till the stay-at-home order. And let them know, hey, we want explanations for this. Independents, Democrats, Republicans, doesn't matter. You write your state representative, because y'all all pissed off for staying at home, and say to Governor Northam, we are sick of the games. Tell us what the hell you was doing in North Carolina and who else was with you, because I'm smelling the rhino all the way in this. And I guarantee you it's going to surprise us who was hanging out with the governor in North Carolina, because that's the only way I see both parties shutting the hell up to this type of crap. So to the American people, to the Virginia people, God bless you. Enjoy your weekend. But it's time for y'all to get on the horn, making the phone calls and saying we want answers to these questions that Rutledge is presenting. Because I'm about to vote Rutledge right there in that office, because it seems like he's the only one who cares about draining the swamp dry and showing it before he's elected, compared to Amanda Chase, who's only going to cover it up. Let's just call it what it is. But it's more than Amanda Chase covering this crap up. And it's time for people to step up as a matter of country, a matter of patriotism, a matter of duty, to hold our public officials accountable for their own bullshit. That's what it is. So y'all have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.